Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at one of the many careers you can pursue from the Traveler 2022 update. A career for your traveler, the citizen. Oh, that sounds exciting, doesn't it? You can be a everyday rank and file. Oh no, there's more to it than that. Citizen has, of course, 3 different ways to be a citizen, and I like some of these actually. There's a character I want to play if ever I play Traveler again. There's a character I might be out of this this opportunity. Citizen is an interesting career path and offers some interesting rewards for you. So we're going to take a look at it a little bit today and reasons you might want to go ahead and just be a citizen. Also, I want to thank everybody who subscribed, everybody who hasn't subscribed. You know where I am. Come on in. That's it. Please take a look at the Patreon. That's it. On to the video. Citizen as a career in Traveler Mongoose 2nd edition. Citizen. What a career. That goes from everybody from the guy at the grocery store to some weirdo in his basement making Traveler videos. Yeah, and that's poke at me, not at anybody else. I'm just making a little fun of myself there. Out of the 2022 update, Citizen is one of the career paths you can choose. Now, this is hardly new. Citizen's been around for a very long time in Traveler. But I still think it's worth looking at in its current iteration. So, individuals who serve in a corporation, bureaucracy, or industry, or who are making a new life on an untamed planet. That's a citizen. A citizen would be anybody in the Imperium. This is just a way to kind of codify it for you a little bit. And then your qualification is education, 5-up roll, and then, of course, DM modification of -1 for every previous career. So the citizen's an interesting thing you could do. You could start a character, say, as a naval, somebody in the Imperial Navy, and then they decide they want to become, they want to work for a corporation, use some of the skills they gain in the Navy there, or as a worker, or as a colonist, which would be a logical thing to come out of the Navy and become a colonist. So your assignments, choose one of the following. Corporate, you're an executive or manager in a large corporation. Pretty good deal if you're coming out of some other service. Worker, you are a blue-collar worker on an industrial world. Colonist, you are building a new life on a recently settled world that still needs taming. Now, I keep talking about the citizen as a secondary career. It doesn't have to be, of course. You can start out as a citizen and just go forward. I can see a citizen colonist being a really exciting avenue to pursue. And then you got a note here. Don't use your assignment skill table for basic training, not service skills. Little typo there on you. Use your assignment skill table for basic training, not service skills. So ordinarily in a career, you go to the service skills and you get all these as 0. But for this career, you go to your assignment skill table, which would be corporate, worker, or colonist. So for instance, if I was going to be a colonist, the 0 skills I would get for choosing the colonist career would be animals, athletics, jack of all trades, drive, survival, and recon. Getting all those at 0. Interestingly, jack of all trades at 0 gets you exactly nothing. Jack of all trades is only good if you have a 1, 2, or a 3 in it, because that acts as a positive modifier against an untrained skill roll. So for instance, if I'm untrained in driving and I have jack of all trades 1, instead of being -3 on my driving roll, I'm only -2. Jack of all trades 0 specifically says it gets no bonus for having 0 in the skills. So it's interesting that 1/6 of your skills as a colonist, your 0 level skills, ends up being useless. But jack of all trades, on the other hand, is an outstanding traveler skill, kind of almost a super skill, if you will, and one definitely worth playing a colonist to try to get. So the survival and all that good stuff is not bad. Corporate is survival, Soc 6+, and advancement is an intelligence check of 6+. Worker is endurance of 4+, and advancement is education 8+. And then a colonist, the hardest one to survive, is intelligence check 7+, and then endurance check of 5+ to advance. And the mustering out benefits are pretty sweet too. You got your standard cash, then you got a ship share, you gain an ally, intelligence +1, a gun, education +1, 2 ship shares, and of course, if you get the all-important TAS membership, it'd be interesting to have a colonist who is a TAS member. And then your skills in the career itself are pretty good. Your personal education skills and your service skills are pretty good. personal development, education +1, intelligence +1, carouse, gambler, drive, and of course, jack of all trades. In your service skills, drive, flyer, streetwise, melee, steward, and profession are all pretty good. Profession, you get to, that's kind of a cascade, you get to choose the profession. And then, of course, advanced education, which is a minimum education of 10, is art, advocate, diplomat, language, electronics, computers, and medic. And then we come down to your individual skills, your assignment skills, which are corporate, getting you advocate, admin, broker, electronics, computers, diplomat, and leadership. Worker gains you drive, mechanic, electronics, engineer, profession, and science. And then colonist, animals, athletics, jack of all trades, drive, survival, and recon. Athletics, of course, can be any strength, dex, or endurance, whichever one you choose. So pretty interesting stuff here for your development of a character for the game. You can become a corporate bigwig and maybe build your story out of that. You here is your corporate progressions. You become a manager, a senior manager, or a director if you get the 6th rank, and you get admin 1, advocate 1, and soc 1 respectively. And then taking a look over here for the worker, you get your second rank is technician, and you get profession 1. 4th rank is craftsman, get mechanic 1. 6th rank is master technician, get engineer 1. And then as a colonist, your 2nd rank is settlers, you get survival 1. Explorer at rank 4, navigation 1. And then 6, you only get gun combat 1. It seemed to me you'd get gun combat earlier than that if you made it all the way to rank 6. But that's neither here nor there. So it's pretty good. I like the mishap tables on this. They're pretty standard. And then, of course, the event table. And really, this is going to be all of the careers drive your character. What you are is what you become. But it's interesting because you can start out with a fairly exotic character in that you're going to be a colonist. And you started out as a colonist, and maybe you were born to the colony, and your characters decided to kick the heels off this crummy rock, kick the dust off his heels, and off he goes into space, having been a colonist. Or maybe he's an older colonist who's been in for several terms and is just tired of the hardscrabble life. He's accumulated some money. He wants some experience beyond the colony. So Citizen is a pretty open character career. And it's one that I think the player really needs to kind of read up and consider before it's used, because as the GM, you can bring it to their attention, but I don't think they're going to get all the ramifications of being a corporate citizen until they've done it. You know, maybe they're building a story where their character was in good standing with the corporation, but ran afoul of a rival, or there was an irregularity in the books that they may or may not have had anything to do. If they had something to do with it, you know, maybe as the game master, you go ahead and you give them an extra mustering out benefit, and that represents how much they swiped. And now they're on the run. If you're a worker, you're just a blue-collar worker who always dreamed of going off into space. So you whip up your skills in electronics across, you know, a couple of different ways. If you can, well, you get, let's see, worker, you get electronics. Yeah, so you're going to work up your electronic, maybe your engineering stuff, and go ahead and see if you can't hire yourself on as a hand to some kind of tramp freighter, and that can be the origin for your character. And then, of course, the colonist I've already discussed. So there's a lot of different ways you can work this in. And as the game master, there's a lot of different ways you can bring this back to roost with the character. I feel in a lot of ways, even more than like the military careers, this kind of writes a story for you because it's not military. It's kind of ready to go. The story almost writes itself based on what your character is doing. So you can also, like I say, you can just assign a rivalry, or maybe they did steal some money and maybe they did some time in jail if that's what the character wants. Now they're out of jail and they're looking for a way to enjoy life, but the money was never recovered and the corporation's still after them for that. They have the money, but they're trying to keep it from the corporation. So you can do kind of an espionage game that way. So a lot of different ways you can do Citizen. I did Agent a few months ago, if you remember, and I've skipped Army. Wait a minute, what are you doing? You skipped Army. Well, I skipped Army on purpose. Any of the military careers, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to handle in their own video based on the Army itself and then becoming a member of the Army and then the Navy itself based on becoming a member of the Navy, the Marines, and the Scouts. So I'm going to just probably go through these in order, but I'm going to go ahead and pass over the military ones till more toward the end. The next one then will be Drifter, another interesting character for your players. Just an interesting career for somebody to pursue is just a drifter. Not really a career, but then of course it is. So that's all I've got to say today about Citizen. I think it's a very viable career for your characters. I think you can definitely make a lot out of it as the game master in the story, and I think it's very easy to weave into any kind of traveler situation. So definitely want to take a look at. Well, that's all I've got to say today. I want to thank you for watching. Thanks for your time. Please remember to like and subscribe, and take a look at the Patreon. And that's it. I'll see you next time on page 121.